Welcome to Keeping the Magic, the podcast, a space for open, authentic conversations that guide us home to our true selves and to our magic within. Let's begin.
Welcome, everyone, and welcome, Dina Berrin.
Thank you so much. Here. So great to be here.
I'm super happy to have you here today. Dina, I will present you. I won't waste any time. I will present you to our listeners, and then we'll get into some questions together. And today I do want to say, before we say anything further, that the episode is for everyone, obviously. What we're going to talk about is really for everyone, but we did want to focus together more on men, because we felt that men don't really have, I'd say, enough kind of space created for them to be able to dig in deeper or to kind of self-inquire. And the self-development and spiritual world, I feel, is more kind of addressed to women in general. And again, I really love to say, I've said it before, I'm not leaving men behind.
No, and that's fair. That's fair. Men shouldn't be left behind.
Exactly. So here we go. So today I'm joined by Dina Berrin. So you are an intuitive life coach, tarot reader, speaker, and author of your book, The Way Within, Igniting Your Intuition with Sacred Tools. For more than 25 years, Dina has helped people reconnect with their intuition through tarot, numerology, astrology, charm reading, and grounded coaching. So you also coach.
Yes.
What makes your work so powerful is how practical and human you make it, showing us that these tools are really mirrors, I love this, for self-trust, healing, and clarity. Your work helps people navigate life's transitions with more confidence, meaning, and yes, a little more magic. Wow. So I'm really excited because I think I have never ever had anyone on my show who actually does tarot reading. That's actually something that really interested me. I love to talk, as you know, perhaps of different practices that we can use or tools that we can use to kind of get into our inner world, or to ask those kind of questions, or to open up to something a bit larger to life that helps us kind of grow, evolve, get to know ourselves. And tarot, wow. And I must say, I love oracle decks. I do oracle decks myself. I do them at home. I have different decks. I love doing it. I also do lives with oracle cards. But tarot is different. And for me, tarot does really require knowledge and specific kind of, I'd say, knowledge and knowing about tarot, which is a bit different.
Yes.
Please go ahead. If you have something.
And I think that a lot of people get intimidated by the tarot deck because there are 78 cards in the deck. And yes, each card does have a meaning. And then some people, when they read, they don't just read the upright card, they read the reversal. So sometimes people are like, well, oh my God, if I learn the tarot, I'm going to need to learn 78 meanings upright and 78 meanings reversed. I'm never going to learn all of this. And so it gets intimidating. And I mean, I will say that I did study tarot for 8 years before I really even started doing readings in the world. But you don't need to study it and know it in that way if you're using it to work with yourself. And right. I really do see all of these tools, and the tarot especially, as mirrors. So what the card is reflecting back at us is a message, and what we pick up on it. So, you may not know the full meaning of a tarot card, but you do know color, you do know symbols. Like if you see a tree, the tree probably has meaning to you. So it's like you can find an answer. You can you can give yourself a mini reading just by looking at, just as you do with the oracle cards. So yes, tarot does have many, many layers, and there are so many pieces and angles and ways that you can go into the card. And you can also read it for yourself with a lot less nuance.
Right. I must say, I actually started my journey when I started to do oracle. Well, actually, no. When I used to pull cards for myself, it was the tarot. It was the original tarot set. And I was young. I was probably like 18. And yeah, I was really interested and curious about it. But I never really studied. So I must say that I kind of did it that way. I have the little booklet and I would read the little booklet. And I mean, yeah, there was like the upside down and everything, like upwards, downwards and everything. Just looking, as you said, at the colors and the symbols and the picture, and in a way letting our own kind of intuition and analysis in a way of like, okay, so this resonates like this to me. So my question was, for example, I don't know if you have a precise question or you just want like more general guidance. It's like, and kind of trust that.
Yeah, and you can do it either way. I mean, I pull a card every day, and my question every day is, what do I need to know? Like, what do I need to know right now?
Love that.
And then I'm just open to whatever message comes. Like, you don't always have to have like a very specific, detailed message. It can be just like, how should I feel about a certain thing? Or, can you give me more information? Or the open-ended questions are usually better because it allows the card to have, many interpretations instead of just that yes or no that many of us look for.
Yes,
so to speak. And it all comes back to intuition, which is like, one of the things we wanted to even talk about today.
Exactly. It was something we wanted to talk about today. And we also wanted to bring up for men.
Yes.
So, yes, I have a first question to kind of like get into the subject for men. You are an intuitive coach and tarot reader. And my first question that came to me was, do you get men in your consultations?
And the answer to that is yes. I would say that I do get fewer men than I do women. Because I love how intuition shows up for men, but men often approach intuition and just this topic in general from a really practical angle. They come in with like, they want to talk about career, a crossroads in their career. They want to talk about a relationship dynamic, or just a sense of maybe like if they feel that life feels off in some way. And what's fascinating to me is that once men experience intuition more clearly, and it as something that they can really feel rather than something like weird or mystical or woo, they realize that it's a different way of knowing. And I really love watching that light bulb go off, that turns on, and they realize that intuition is not a gendered thing. It speaks to each of us, maybe in a slightly different way, but men have intuition as well.
Wonderful. That was exactly, I was going to ask you, because we know that women have intuition kind of more naturally in a way, or easily. They connect their intuition more easily. Maybe we can even explain what intuition is.
Sure. Well, intuition is that quiet first knowing. So before your mind jumps in with what I call analysis paralysis or doubt, it's that subtle yes or no that you feel. It's like before you start rationalizing your decision. And I think that it's the part of you that's really honest before the fear or the logic takes over and gets a little bit loud. And, women might recognize it more easily because we're attuned to these emotional dynamics. But honestly, as I said, intuition is universal and we all have it.
Yes, it is universal. We all have it. Exactly. It is a matter of kind of learning in a way to listen to it. And even though I say that women may have it easily or more, I can remember at some point where I didn't even know I had intuition until I actually asked myself, what's intuition? Do I have it? And how does it express itself? And how can I hear it? And when I started to self-inquire and ask those questions, I started to understand and I started to play with it in a way where when I did feel something, or I had a question, or I wanted to make a decision, was kind of like, leaning in and listening and kind of making the difference between that kind of voice that you get, that kind of the thoughts that come just before that, the kind of nudge or that little feeling or that kind of yes, no that comes in the body before you start, as you said, analyzing.
Correct. And how we can recognize intuition from logical thoughts. Intuition is very simple. It's calm, it's direct, and it's just like it to me, it just like bubbles up from the inside. It's something that I just can't deny is there. It doesn't argue, it doesn't explain itself. Whereas with logical thoughts, like logical thoughts are very useful. But when you catch your mind looping around or justifying or building a case, that's usually your brain trying to feel safe.
Yeah.
So intuition presents itself as clear knowing right up front. And so I think that in general, we all do want to feel safe. And a lot of times we go back to making things logically make sense because maybe your intuition is telling you something different to do that your logical mind is telling you to. And very often, even though we do have those feelings, we let the logical mind take over and we do what we quote unquote is like the other thing, and then we're like, I knew I shouldn't have gone this route. I knew there, or I knew I shouldn't have answered that phone call, or I knew that I shouldn't have shown up. And it's like, and then you kind of beat yourself up about it when you had that feeling. So that is your intuition talking, and I invite you, and talking to your audience too, to trust that the next time and just see what happens.
Yeah, I agree so much. How many times have I kind of, in a way, gone against my intuition, the first yes or no, because I started to analyze and like kind of have that pragmatic kind of thinking coming in and saying, no, but this, but then think of that. And if that happens and and then you get into it and it never stops. And then like, okay, I'm just going to follow that logic. Seems good, seems safe. It seems well built.
Mm-hmm.
How many times have I regretted saying, oh, I knew it. Like I knew I should.
True.
Yeah.
It's so true. And I always say that our intuition is the most honest compass that we will ever have. Intuition, it keeps us anchored to who we are, especially when life gets noisy or uncertain. It really helps us choose what feels right, not just what looks right on paper or pleases other people, because that's a whole other thing. Although I find that with the men that I work with, people pleasing is not as much of a topic with them as it is with women. So I feel like there are some things that are more that men come because logically things aren't making sense, whereas women will come because they're making decisions from a people pleasing or fear based perspective, because they don't want to feel judged, they don't want to feel like they're being compared, or I don't know. It's a little bit of a different approach.
It is a different approach. And it's quite funny because something comes up right now. It's if I had to compare, if we want to compare men and women just to kind of understand a bit more. For example, even like in a romantic relationship, if you see the woman, like for me, I would tend to be like, oh, like I feel this and like I'm in love. And so all the logic would be like, doesn't matter, because the most important is that I'm in love. But then you get the man perspective who's like, yeah, like I feel something. I have these like, I'm feeling something and I like her, but, and all the rational is like, but the circumstances aren't right. The timing isn't good. And I have to like focus on that. And she's not ready and I'm not And the guy's going to end up saying, well, no, sorry, it's not going to work out. And I really find that sometimes it's like, what? But how come? Because the feelings are there. So why? And it's kind of like as if men jump to the logical, to like, yeah, but look at all this, like I've got it's all planned out, it's not going to work. And the women's like, but who cares? Like we just need.
Well, this is why, I mean, like years ago, there was a book called Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. And I'm like, I feel like it just all brings it back to that, because how men and women move through the world is very different. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I feel as though if we could create some type of language that was universal and understood by all, then maybe we can open up the lines of communication and make it a little bit easier.
Yes, so much. And I'm actually getting into something else here right now, but it comes up too, so I'm going to say it. I really believe that when we talk about masculine and feminine as gender or as this dynamic that we're talking about, these differences, the masculine and the feminine within, we also all have.
Both,
And
yes.
I believe that the more we can balance, or in a way, just be in harmony with both our masculine and feminine side within, whether we are a man or a woman, that's where we can find a kind of like ground where we can understand, or maybe in a way make things work better or just more easily.
Yeah, I
That's
agree to that.
about it.
And it's important to feel like there is no right way to do this. And if you're interested in exploring your feminine side, men, if you're listening, or the opposite, if women are interested in exploring their masculine side, like there is no right way to do it. It's only the way that feels right for you, which of course leads us back to your intuition. Like if you
Yes.
feel as though there are things that you don't understand, that is your cue to explore that.
Yeah, and I want to say also that when I say masculine and feminine, it doesn't mean a man's going to become feminine and like want to be. I mean, like, no, that's not the point. The point is, for example, it's, or can I lean more into my emotion if I'm a man? The more the emotional or compassionate side, can I lean a bit into that? That's going to tap into the feminine. I'm a woman, and maybe I would like to tap into the decision making and to the kind of stronger presence that I want, maybe in front of people. So it's really that, really. It's not like, oh, I'm going to become masculine. No, but it's like tapping into those qualities that kind of represent the masculine and the feminine.
Yeah, and it's funny because I don't know if men see using intuition or talking like that as a little bit feminine, but before our call I was thinking of, how, because sometimes it's like when you're selling a car to a woman and you're selling a car to a man, you use a different approach because both of them have a different way of approaching something like that, like the sale of a car. So
Yeah.
if we're going to change that topic and talk about how can we sell intuition to a man as opposed to, I think women are already sold on it, I was thinking of a few ways that we could kind of like offer it up as a perspective. And I came up with a few interesting, so I wanted to share some of these because I was having a little bit of fun with this. So let's see. The first one was about finding the playful side. So I don't want men to think of intuition as a heavy responsibility because I feel like men like to play games. They like to, they're into sports. And I feel as though, what if this was just a game and it was a way of playing and sharing a story, or even creating something called like an intuition challenge. So like who can predict which elevator, will open first, or which friend will call next. Like it doesn't have to be like very mushy and emotional. It can just be about like a game about how to listen to that inner voice and build trust without pressure. So the first thing, so I'll share three. So the first thing was the playful side of intuition.
Right.
So I'm digging into the things that men like. So second thing is intuition as an inner GPS. So like, men like gadgets. And if we could frame intuition as like the ultimate internal gadget, or like quote unquote upgrade, if we're going back to that like car metaphor, it's like, I want all the bells and whistles. Okay, your model, meaning you and your body, has this great upgrade if you're able to tap into it. And this is a great, quote unquote technological tool that you can say, men, you're already masters of using tools, and intuition is actually the original built-in tool. So what if you treated your gut feeling like the latest app or the latest technical upgrade? This can be something fun that they can, kind of like use as maybe like a little challenge, because men like a little challenge.
Exactly.
And
exciting.
yeah. And so and then the other thing that I thought of is like, once again, like with sports, like a sports analogy. And men can also very much resonate with teamwork. Like if you've ever grown up and been like on a soccer team or the football team or like whatever, lacrosse team, like whatever team you played on, and imagine that your intuition is this invisible team member. It's always in the huddle. It's
Yeah.
always whispering you strategies and approaches. And I invite your intuition in as like this invisible, trusted teammate
Yeah.
whose signals matter. And whether you're on the field or you're at work or you're at home, that teammate is like on the sidelines or even like right next to you, rooting for you, wanting you to succeed.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I was going to say it's like a team coach, like giving you all these like, yeah, tips and tools and guidance to succeed, to
Yeah,
win a,
because go ahead.
yeah,
No,
yeah,
and I was just thinking, it's like I feel as though, and you can agree or disagree with this, but like I'm gonna bust the myth that intuition is just for women. I think
yeah,
that there's maybe like a little stereotype that somewhere along the way society decided that intuition was a girl's thing, and but science shows that everyone has it. And guys, you're probably using it more than you realize. And
yeah.
whether it's reading the room, sensing danger, or making a split-second decision, that is intuition.
Oh, I love that. That's so powerful. That is intuition. And I like, yes, if I was a man and I was listening to this episode right now, I'd be like, right, like, yes, like I get it. And that's
Yeah.
the point. The point of why we wanted to get together is it's not complicated. We all have it, and you're probably already using it. It's just that you don't know.
Right. And
And
and honestly, like trusting your intuition can turn like everyday moments into little adventures. Like
mm,
choosing a new route home or striking up a conversation with a stranger. These are all ways to add a little sense of discovery and excitement into your daily life. And
yeah,
it's not just a crisis management tool. It's like maybe you have a sensing like, oh, maybe this person at the supermarket, needs a little bit of help. Like they can't,
yeah,
get their cart to work or they can't
yeah,
find something. And it's like, maybe you have knowledge or a skill or something that you could add to it. Like, I've seen people like when I walk down the street, if somebody falls down, people instinctively like, oh, that
yeah.
person needs help. And they just go there. Like, what if you did that in other areas of your life, not just when it looked like somebody was in a little bit of a crisis situation?
Exactly, exactly. It's not for a crisis or for like, exactly. I really love that. Like for everyday life. And maybe it can be just a way to open up to life, quite simply, to
Totally.
expand your living experience basically in your everyday life. And I'm sure that by doing so, you will open doors and opportunities will kind of like flourish that way. And I do actually have a question. It may be a bit tricky to answer, but let's see, we can think together. Maybe they're asking themselves, well, for you who are listening, but why should I connect to my intuition? Like, okay, I get it, like, but at the end of the day, why should I? What could it bring? What could it add in my life? I mean, we already kind of said so. We've just kind of talked about it, but still to make
Yeah.
it clear, what could it bring anything more to my life right now? Like I'm fine. My life is cool. Like, why would I want to connect to my intuition?
Yeah. Well, first of all, this is my inner compass. Like I feel as though you have like just speaking of, as we were talking about the car and the upgrades and all this stuff, like we all have this built-in compass that
Mm,
is your intuition. And I feel like what this is, it's like intuition is like the gold in any transaction or transition or any situation that you're in, whether you're
yeah,
having a career shift, whether you're in relationship, whether, it's those moments when you feel something or like maybe you've outgrown something. It is guiding us towards
yes,
a life that is more authentic
yeah,
and aligned. So your intuition is like it's the opposite of fear. It to me it's a way for
yeah,
you to love yourself and to honor yourself. So why should we connect to our intuition? Well, to be more authentic, to be more
yeah,
grounded, to feel more centered, and to
mm,
show up in the most present way possible so you can live your best life. I mean, to
live
me, yeah,
life. Exactly. For
to me
me, it
it's
would
everything.
to live your best life, because you can stay in a job, you can stay in a relationship that does not fulfill you. And by listening to your intuition, I mean, it's not always easy. Obviously, it means you have to take decisions. You will have to move. You will have to take action to change things. But by doing so, you will get closer to your authentic self. You will get closer to what makes you really happy, what really excites you. And I think that, yes, like we all want to be happy. Our purpose in life is to be happy, is to live a happy life. And
Right.
so, yeah.
I agree with that so much. And also, like, just to, to add a little bit to this, as you were saying, like, you have to move, you have to take action. And sometimes our bodies or our instincts are prompting us in a direction that may be new and unknown and therefore uncomfortable. And sometimes it's easier to do the comfortable thing, to stay in a routine that maybe isn't fully honoring who we are, but it allows us to be safe, or, a perceived sense of safety. But sometimes if we stay somewhere too long, that safety turns into what I consider to be stuckness. Like you feel stuck. And so the invitation is to consider the hard thing. Like, I want to invite you to do the hard thing and to really ask yourself, am I living a life that honors and serves who I am and who I want to be? In the coaching world, there's something that we work with. It's called your future self. And your future self, you sound like you know that, is just a future version of you. So this is you in 6 months. This is you in a year. This is you in 5 years. And we are always, or many of us are always driving towards, who is my future self? And you take actions to, put you maybe 1, 2, 3 steps closer to who that person is. And how do you become your future self? Well, you start acting like them. You start talking like them. You start showing up places that future version of you would be. And you start saying no to the things that are not that. And once again, how do you figure out who your future self is, and how do you figure out what those steps are? That is your intuition.
Right. Yeah. Walking, in a way, your present version, walking to your future self, your higher self. Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I was wondering, what tools are there, tools or practices that you would recommend for men, for example, to kind of maybe hone into their intuition?
Yeah, well, aside from those other fun ones that I mentioned, that they can do the team huddle and be a little playful with it. I mean, there are more, specific ways and things that I do. And I mean, I know men that meditate, so I'm not going to suggest anything to you that I don't know that other men do. And once again, this is all a practice. Like, and I assimilate this to going to the gym. And all of these things are about building a muscle. So you want to build the muscle of self-awareness. You want to build the muscle of self-growth. So you can get into the mindset of thinking, like, I don't want you to think once, who's my future self, and then forget about it. I want you to think about your future self, maybe just for like 5 minutes in the morning when you're journaling. So one of the first things that pops up, before the overthinking starts, before you get into what I call the the analysis paralysis and the overthinking, sit down, have a 5-minute download in the morning, like maybe the things that you feel fear around, or the things that you want to create in the world, but you're not quite sure how you're going to get, if you're at point A and that next version of you is point B. I mean, we don't take one big step from point A to point B. Point A to point B is a lot of little steps. And journaling is an excellent place to start, because you can think about, like, who do I need to call today? Or who should I ask for a meeting with? Or, maybe I should reach out and take a little class about XYZ to find out more about it before I decide to make a complete career change or something. Or maybe I should find out about what it's like to live in this other place before I make a move and quit my job or something like that. So just putting all your thoughts in a journal is so helpful, because whatever is cluttering your mind now goes there. And then you can kind of like clear the deck, so to speak, and then focus on what's really important. So journaling is the first way that I would recommend. And once again, I am a huge fan of tarot. Tarot has been very instrumental in growth and expansion in my life. And you mentioned that you enjoy working with oracle decks. And I mean, there are runes, there are charms, there are numerology, there's a million astrology, there's a million ways that you can approach. But you can use tarot or another reflection type tool, not for fortune telling, but for mirrors to already see what's happening inside of you. So for example, if like on your way to work every day you see, this one bird kind of like cooing at you or, cawing at you from the tree, it's like, what is that? If that bird could speak, what is he saying to you? What is the message? Kind of like just paying attention to what's around you and see what grabs your attention and what message you can get from that. So using and you could use it and whatever calls to you. Like there is no right or wrong way to do this.
Yeah.
I
was going to be aware of our environment in a way is becoming more present in the moment and kind of paying more attention to what's happening around us. Yeah.
100%. And that leads me to my next one, which is about paying attention to your body cues. So does this decision make you feel tight and like, are you clenching your jaw? Are your shoulders at your ears? Or do you feel more open? Do you feel like all of a sudden you took a deep breath? Do you all of a sudden feel as though you're more relaxed? So what does it bring up for you in your body? Because I don't think we pay attention to our bodies. And also like our breathing, like, are we a shallow breather or are we doing deep breathing?
Yeah.
Take a deep breath, let yourself just let it out. Yeah. And to kind of build on that, another thing is about noticing recurring life patterns. So what keeps showing up and what is the message? Like, so what if, your boss keeps saying to you, I noticed that you're the first one here and you're always the last to leave. Maybe you're working too hard. Or maybe it's the reverse. I notice you're always late and you're always leaving early. And it's like, well, maybe you're not focused enough. So it's like, what are the things that you have people are noticing or saying to you, or like what type of experiences or scenarios keep showing up in your life? And then you're like, what's the message here?
I love that. The repeating kind of scenarios that happen that usually, yes, if they happen again, if they come back in circles or in cycles, it's because there's something to be seen or learnt. And there is a lesson to learn from it. And again, it's being aware, bringing the awareness to situations that happen again and again, and kind of pause and say, but why? Like, this is not the first time. So what do I need to change? What do I need to see or understand?
Yeah. And like, to get back to your question, why should we connect to our intuition? Because our intuition has all of the answers to all these questions. So I have one more. And that one other thing is take one action. It can be a very small action. It can be a very tiny action. It doesn't have to be a big thing, but something that honors what you already know here.
Right.
And give it a try out in the world.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. I really do hope it inspires men to feel curious about their intuition and what it's about, and to really, do all the little exercises and hints that you gave that are really great. I find them super fun and exciting to try out and see also, and just notice for yourself. Like, if you do try, again, I do believe that consistency and perseverance is also in life everything. So as you said, it's not just trying it out once. No, try it out several times. Do the things and see how life responds. See how circumstances respond. See how people respond and how you feel within. How do you love yourself a bit more? Do you feel more confident? Do you feel more grounded? Less confused? All those things that when you trust your intuition and you can connect to it, all the benefits that just basically flow from it.
Yeah, and that's what prompted me to write my book, The Way Within. Like that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And it's like igniting your intuition using sacred tools, whatever the tools you want. And, in my book, it is about connecting to your intuition. It is about knowing who you are. And, I introduce all of these. I introduce a little bit of tarot, a little bit of numerology, and a little bit of charms. Charms are about symbolism. And I give you journal prompts and exercises and ways to work with this at a beginner level. You do not need to be experienced in order to benefit. I mean, my book was written for everyone, and it was actually the book that I really wanted, that I really should have, that I would have appreciated having at the beginning. Yeah. So it's like what I would have needed at the beginning of my journey here. That's the book that I wrote. So if you are at the beginning of your journey, if you are wondering how to do this, that is what my book is about.
Wonderful. So your book, The Way Within, Igniting Your Intuition with Sacred Tools. Where can we find your book?
So my book is on Amazon.
Right.
You can either go to, and so you can go to Amazon, you can put in my name, Dina Berrin, and that's my book that's now there. I'm writing another book that is a little bit more astrology, but the same thing, connecting with yourself using astrology, my first book. So that's in motion, but my book, you can go to my website. It's on my front page of my site. You can click it there, or you can go to Amazon, and it's packed with practical tools and stories to help anyone, no matter where you're starting, and helps you strengthen your intuition.
Wonderful. And I will put the links in our episode at the end of our episode, so it's easy to find. And yes, I want to come back to something that you said, and I really love that. And it's actually quite simple, but it is just beautiful, and it just speaks for itself. Connecting to your intuition, or doing these tools, or using these practices, are basically just to be able to get to know yourself.
Yeah.
Most of us don't know ourselves truly, which is fine. Like there's no judgment in that. And I guess that we all our life, we kind of discover who we are. We never kind of get to a point where like, oh, know myself, I've done the work, I know who I am. But to truly know who we are, and discovering, because we are unique all of us, we have our uniqueness, and to be able to discover all the little treasures that we have within, and to use them in this lifetime. To use them, and in a way, not just to go through life because, oh, well, you just have to go through life and I guess I'm doing fine. No, the aliveness of life, to be fully you and to feel allowed and have the permission to be you.
Yeah. And I think that what happens is like what we are, a lot of times when we're younger, our role models affect the way that we think and then, live our lives and move through the world. And I've met many people that, like, for example, if they come from a family of lawyers, then they realize that I think that I'm going to have to be a lawyer. Or if they come from a family of doctors, then, their family has an expectation of them. And what happens is that people make decisions, and, I'm not immune from this. I had my own, stories growing up and things like that, but it's like we make decisions that serve other people in our lives so we can be loved, so they can feel proud of us, so we can feel part of the family legacy and, part of the whole quilt of, what is expected in our family lineage. And what intuition is inviting you to do is to, not ignore that, but to factor in the things that you truly want that will make you happy, so you can live a life for you, not for everyone else.
Wow, what a beautiful conclusion. To live a life for you and not for everybody else. I love that. Thank you so, so much, Dina.
It was my pleasure. It was my pleasure being here. So lovely to talk to you. And I love this topic. Yes.
Yeah, me too. I'm like, what already? Thank you so, so much. It was a real pleasure. And yeah, maybe we can have another talk. I mean, there's so much we can say. So yeah. Thank you so much. I will put all the info all the links, everything in the episode. And yeah, thank you to our listeners, and hope it helped. I'm sure it did. And speak soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Keeping the Magic, the podcast. You can listen to more episodes now on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, and YouTube. Trust your potential within. Lots of love.